Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show. Fresh back from camp. Woo, is it hot out there today? That was the hottest by far of training camp, no question about it. Not a hint of a breeze. And things are not going well for Robert Hainsey at practice today. Whew. After yesterday's interesting media session with Tom Brady, which we will get back into a little bit, I would not say things are trending in the right direction for this Bucs camp. Good morning and welcome to the JP Peterson Show. We thank you so much for joining us each and every day. Whether you're joining us by YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, on our app, our dedicated app, FanStream Sports, we really, really appreciate it. And subscribe to our YouTube page so you can watch each and every day, anytime, and download that app. You can listen each and every day, anytime you want to listen. Afternoons, afternoon drive in the morning, whenever. It's there for you. Just tap that app. Nick Geddes is here with me this morning, sir, and it's we're going to get to all the baseball trades as well. I know you're very much in tune with what happened yesterday with the Rays as well, so I'm going to lean on you a little bit for that. Jose Siri, hello Siri, is now our new center fielder for the probably foreseeable future.
Yeah, hello to you first and foremost. Hello to Jose Siri, and
I gotta hydrate, bro.
You do that, and goodbye to Mr. Kiermaier, most likely, and a heartfelt goodbye to Mr. Phillips.
Yep.
So that's where the Rays are after yesterday.
It's been an interesting 24 hours for the Rays as they remake their team, but they have not made any major moves, have not given up any major assets to acquire Mr. Siri, as far as I can tell. They've got Peralta. This is a better team, no question about it, with what has happened over the last week. Is it good enough to compete with the big boys? No. And the moves that are being made across the league are seismic, and there's still probably a Juan Soto deal to come. So we will probably be a better position to kind of gauge what's going to happen down the stretch right now. But as I sit here today on a Tuesday morning, things are not trending well for Tampa Bay, unless you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. The Bucs are struggling with what to do at center. And we just got a tweet from Scott Reynolds, who will not be able to come on today because of practice duties. I might chat with him on Thursday. TJ Reeves is going to join us at 11:15 today. But he just tweeted out there was a botched exchange at center between Hainsey and Brady. And then he got blown up by Will Golston, Hainsey did, and was getting an earful from offensive line coach Harold Godwin. That's not a good day. And yesterday was not a good day for Hainsey either. So this is to be expected, to be quite honest.
And it doesn't sound like the offense had a great day yesterday. I saw after a lot of people were talking about that's kind of why Brady was in a salty mood, which is what you had mentioned, that whenever the Bucs just don't have a good practice and he has to speak to the media, that's the way he is. So I guess we can kind of just chalk up that session yesterday. It was an 8-minute session of Tom Brady as just bad day at the office.
Well, I think if you read Rick Stroud's piece and listened to his podcast, which I listen to a lot of the podcasts around, Pewter Report, Rick Stroud's as well, he came to the same conclusion that I did, that he wasn't very happy with the whole Robert Hainsey situation and the fact that Ryan Jensen went down. And I don't want to make Brady look like a jerk here. But there's clearly a disconnect here between what Brady wants to happen and what the organization is doing. And I see from an organizational standpoint, you want to see what you have in Robert Hainsey before you go out and perhaps make a huge commitment to a J.C. Tedder or a Paredes or somebody else or some type of veteran player to come in here and compete with him. I would predict by the end of the week, there's going to be a veteran center in uniform for the Buccaneers, whether they make a trade or they do something. I think a lot of that, and we're going to play the audio again today in case you missed yesterday's show, or even if you heard it, we'll kind of reinforce what he said. Brett said, I think there's a question of, yes, it was not a good practice yesterday offensively. I don't think Brady has been at his best so far. I think he is definitely lamenting what's happened with Ryan Jensen, and it's going to be an issue moving forward until they make a move. If the organization is going to wait a couple of weeks, 3 weeks to see how Hainsey does and see how he matches up, I don't think that's going to sit well with Brady. And I think we saw that publicly yesterday.
Well, I tell you what, though, I mean, based on, I've been listening as well to the guys at Pewter Report and listening to Stroud as well. And obviously they're very plugged in. It sounds like the Bucs just really are not that enthused by the idea of bringing in J.C. Tretter. And a lot of it has to do with the scheme fit, which we talked about. We don't think that would be that big of an issue, but apparently it is. And that's one of the reason why the Bucs just aren't really kind of jumping all over that. But of course, the whole wild card in this is all it has to take is for Tom Brady to storm into somebody's office and say, I want this guy. I don't care what scheme we're running. Get him in the building. That kind of guess that's where we're at with that.
I'm sorry. I love the guys at Pewter Report, but I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with the scheme fit. You have a professional center who's rated as the 5th best, who has played in this league for a long time. Zone blocking and man blocking are not that much different. In fact, teams do both of them for the most part. Center is not a thing where the only thing the only thing you could possibly, I think, really in terms of scheme fit to a major degree is quarterback. You don't want a guy like Tom Brady, who's a stand-up quarterback, running an offense like they're running in Baltimore. That's not a scheme fit. But when it comes to running backs and receivers and tight ends and things like that, to some degree, yes, you want a guy that can do certain things. But when it comes to an offensive lineman, especially an experienced offensive lineman, that the pros far outweigh the cons when it comes to scheme. So I'm not going there. To me, there's got to be, I think, first of all, I think the organization is stretched. There's no question that the Bucs are stretched in terms of what they can do with the cap. In order to get Tretter, they're going to have to redo somebody else's contract and push more money down the line. But I mean, we're past the point of no return in that regard. When it's Brady, it's all about Brady, and I just don't see how this organization can make all the moves that they've made and now balk here at going out and getting a experienced center. I don't see it. So we'll move on from that. We'll play those quotes from Brady a little bit later on in the show as well. Today, live at camp, Leonard Fournette is going to talk. Antoine Winfield is going to talk. Todd Bowles is going to talk. There was one more that I can't remember right now, but we'll get possibly some live hits as well. A couple other reports from our friends at Pewter Report. Fournette made a catch and then dropped one in the exact next play. Brady was 4 for 4 before that drop. I did see Fournette drop a wheel route. As it's funny, they're throwing passes to the running backs and they catch every slant, the outs, but that little wheel route where they got to look over their shoulder, like every running back except Rachaad White dropped that pass and they were right in their hands. It's a totally different I guess fundamental to catch that over the shoulder wheel route down the sideline. And Rashad, I'm saying it again, Rachaad White is the most natural catcher of the football of all of those running backs. And he's big and he's fast.
He's going to play a lot this year. I really think he's going to play a lot this year. And I tell you what, I know we don't talk much fantasy football on this broadcast, which we probably should change that as we get to
we will.
We'll
talk a bunch of it.
But I think he's one of, I'll throw it out there. I think he's an obvious sleeper candidate.
Absolutely.
In fantasy football drafts this year. I'm very high on him. I wouldn't be surprised if they get almost around a 50-50 split. I think he's that good. And I think his talent is just eventually going to shine through as a pass catcher. I just have not seen it. I know you like the way you've seen Giovanni Bernard during
He's got
camp.
burst. He's got burst. No question he's got burst.
Last year, I don't know, for whatever reason, that just did not work out.
He was
involved
injured.
much.
He was nicked up. He got injured early on with ankles, and it seemed like there was something always wrong with his legs.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then when you're a guy who's 30, 31 years old and you have leg injuries, it's gonna hamper you. But Rachaad White's in here, no injuries for him, and he's ready to get going. And I think you're going to see him. Let me think. I think he could catch 40 to 50 balls in this offense this year. I think he could really catch 40 to 50 balls this year.
do too.
I think you see like Tony Pollard has been for the Cowboys. I think that's what Rachaad White could be for Leonard Fournette here.
Yeah, and I think it's funny right now because he's running legit 5th and 16. Like that when they go through the hierarchy of doing the pass plays, there's a definite rotation. Fournette goes first. Giovanni goes second. Sneak Vaughn goes third, or those two sometimes mix up. And then Kenyon Barner goes before Rachaad White. And it's like, okay, can we get on with this? Seriously.
Thank you for jogging my. I didn't realize the Bucs still had Kenyon Barner on the roster.
Yeah.
So thanks for that. But that's interesting.
He had a nice run today.
Rachaad White going like fourth or fifth in the rotation.
Yeah, and Pewter Report reporting that nice move by rookie Rachaad White to get open against Chris Cooper on a one-on-one drill. He's shifty. He's good. Saw Luke Gedeke and KJ Britt get into it with a little scrum. I mean, not much. I mean, as little a scrum as possible. A little pushing and shoving at the end, but Gedeke certainly showing that he's got a little nasty side to him. Trying to show that to the coaches. No fighting, though. No fighting.
I tell you what, too. I keep seeing all this video from camp, and I know it's camp video, but my God, does Julio Jones look good?
He does. Yeah.
I don't recall him looking this good last year. And this, I guess he's just completely healthy, like he said. His cuts.
And I think he's lost a lot of weight. I definitely from when he played in Atlanta. And I even think went back and looked at some tape in Tennessee. And it's hard to sometimes when you see the full pads, game pads, but he looks significantly lighter than he did last year. I think there's no question that he's lost some weight.
I mean, a lot of these guys, I think some people were saying he still looks like a tight end on the team, or actually saying that he looks like a tight end out there. But they said the speed is what is impressing them right now.
Yeah.
I think it was Carlton Davis or Devin White. One of them had said that his speed is like Scotty Miller type right now. So think about that.
Man, if we got like 2015 Julio Jones to go with Godwin and Gage had a couple of drops, by the way, today, just against the air. That's not good, but wow. That's just, and we're not, we haven't really talked about missing Gronk yet, of course that's going to show up more in the games, but Kyle Rudolph looks smooth. If Gronk comes back, it's just an embarrassment of riches. I wonder if he could play center. I don't know. I guess he's more zeroed in on being an underwear model for the Brady brand, but all I could say is right now they've got an embarrassment of weapons, but they're not always going to have that. Guys are going to get hurt. We were down to receiver 7 and 8 last year.
Yep.
So guys are going to get hurt, and that's why you're trying to build depth right now in practice. So, and by the way, we'll hear from Carlton Davis. We got some audio from him, correct? So we'll do a little bit more Bucs as we get into the show. So let's zero in on the Rays a little bit. By the way, before we do, Joe F wanted to chime in here. And by the way, you can join the show, and we'll put your comments up on the screen. If you go to YouTube, subscribe, or you can also do it on Facebook as well. In my Facebook page, JP Peterson. So search that, and you can put your comments in here, and they'll show up, and we'll put them up here. Joe F says they need to make a move for a center. You don't want to waste this year and put it in the hands of basically a rookie. Just for depth alone, they need to make a move. I agree 100%. And I don't know why it hasn't been done yet, but I expect it to be done by the end of the week. And especially if Hainsey's going to have a couple of bad practices. And of course, the dude's probably swimming right now. I watched him up close today, just doing some sled work. There's not much you can tell from that, obviously, but there's a lot of pressure on this cat. So I just think organizationally they're going to eventually make a move. All right, so let's get into what the Rays have done here in acquiring Jose Siri. So tell me a little bit about this young man.
I'll tell you this. He is probably one of the top 5 to 3 defensive center fielders in baseball.
Yeah, the Rays called him the best.
Yeah, the Rays called him the best, and then I think Neander said, or one of the best, because I think he needs to remember that Kevin Kiermaier is still on the payroll, not for much longer probably, but he's still on the payroll. But that's kind of the pedigree he brings to this team. He's mainly a defensive guy. The bat has always been good in the minors. This year, it's kind of gotten away from him. But again, a guy who just mashes at AAA. I had his numbers right here over his last season in AAA. The slash line is 314, 365, 589, which is outstanding. Just hasn't really been able to translate it to the big leagues. Hasn't really got many opportunities there. 27 years old. The price that the Rays gave up, you mentioned, didn't look like they had to sell the farm for him. The Rays gave up their number 6 overall prospect in this deal for Jose Siri. And when you first see it, you go, man, Okay, a number 6 overall prospect for a guy who's 27, who's hardly played in the big leagues, who is a defensive guy who's not hitting well. Why did we give up a 6 overall prospect? Because I look around and I see all these other guys who are going for, like the Yankees, for example, getting Benintendi without having to use any of their top 20 prospects, right?
Right.
That's the first thing that jumps off the page to me. And the kid's name is Seth Johnson. He was the Rays' first overall pick in 2019, but he's also just about to undergo Tommy John. So that's going to take him out for a pretty long time. And the Rays, obviously, pitchers on that organization, they'll always have more than enough there to suffice. So for the Rays, it's not that big of a deal. And I think it's one of those cases they value Jose Siri at a much higher rate than probably anybody else in the big leagues does.
Of course they do.
This is a typical Rays move.
He's cheap and he's
cheap, controllable, and they feel like they can get the best out of him.
Right.
And I know a lot of people online were saying, well, he's just another Brett Phillips. And that's just people just looking at stats and numbers and coming to that conclusion. The offensive prowess, I guess you could say, of Jose Siri's potential is massively over Brett Phillips.
Yeah.
Massively. And defensively, you're getting an even better player than Brett Phillips. So, conclusion, are the Rays a better team after making this move and the David Peralta move?
Yes.
The answer is a resounding yes.
Absolutely.
You've substituted
100%.
them in for Roman Quinn, Josh Lowe, and Brett Phillips. You're a better team.
Right. Now, I would argue I'd rather have Josh Lowe back up here because he was starting
I still want Josh Lowe back up here, yes.
Yeah. I still don't understand why he and Aranda are down there. That makes no sense.
I don't. But the Rays made an interesting move last night as well, real late. You're probably still awake, but you probably didn't see it. The Rays made a little minor move late last night to
got
clear.
A left-hander, didn't he?
It's a right-hander who hasn't pitched in the big league since 2019. He's got a funky arm angle, and I tweeted out, I said that's the reason why the Rays got him.
Of course.
But the other main reason there is it cleared a 40-man roster spot for them, which is now available, and that would tend to tell you that they're still active today, and they're still going to be looking to add. So I don't think the Rays are done by any stretch of the imagination. How much better are they going to get? Unless you're getting like a Wilson Contreras. I know they're still in those sweepstakes. I don't know how much better the Rays are going to get. I don't think they're getting in any of these big fish right now that are still out there, because I think based on what they're saying, I don't think they really want to overpay for any of these guys. But better team, yes. Are they going? Is this catapulting them over the top? No,
absolutely not.
No, it's not.
And other teams are making moves, and some surprising moves. I want to get too big in the weeds. But Hader getting moved from the Brewers was a little interesting. But they got a king's ransom back for him. The Brewers got better, I think, even with trading a guy like that.
It's an odd move when you're in first place, and you trade him to another team that's in your own league that you're going to be competing with. It's a very odd move. Yeah,
but they've got good arms. They feel like they can withstand it, and they've picked up some other good players.
And they went and added Matt Bush, who I think he was the former first overall pick for the Rays, right?
I think so.
They went and added him as the Hader replacement. So I guess they look at it like they replaced him anyway for something cheap. But that's their problem. Obviously, the Red Sox are the most perplexing thing.
That was bizarre.
Bizarre is what they're doing. You're only 3 games out of the playoffs.
Yeah, what are Red Sox fans saying today?
I don't know, but it's like they sell Christian Vasquez, so now you're really weak at catcher.
Yep.
And then you go trade for Tommy Pham.
Yeah.
And Tommy Pham is like 33, 34 years old. I just don't understand that move from a team who looked like they were going to sell off assets, not add. Nathan Eovaldi had a really good start, I think, last night or the night before. He's like, he might get traded today. I don't know what the Red Sox are doing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I can't explain that.
The Braves signed Austin Riley to a big contract and are making moves as well. I was kind of looking at the Braves and all the good young players that they have and the money that they're spending. And I look at the Rays and I say, look at how much the Braves are spending, having moved into a new stadium, and how much money that stadium is producing for them that they actually put into their players. There would be no guarantee that the Rays would do the same thing because of our owner, but there's a possibility. Just look at the possibilities. You could be a big league team, and the Rays, in terms of acting like a big league team and how they trade and spend money, and we know that Stu Sternberg has $500 million that he's put into another account or a Rays baseball club that he solely owns, allegedly from the lawsuit, but he's not denied that. So there's money to be had here. And as we've always said, and people would doubt this in thinking that they don't have money, who really don't understand it or don't want people to know, they've always been able to spend to the league average. They've just chosen not to. And Stu's just chosen to put that into his pocket. So, and tries to continue this charade that he doesn't have money. This team has money. They can pay these contracts. They just choose not to. And you look at the Braves are doing, I get jealous. I look at it and I said, we could have a new stadium. We could have a new battery. We could have everything and should already be in place if not for our owner. So when people give Stu Sternberg all these plaudits for how well the Rays do and, his ownership has kept us competitive, I say, no, it's the front office people that have done it and their philosophy and what they have done and being hamstrung by their owner. Just think what they could do. We could have a team like the Braves, but we don't. And that's,
I tell you,
because of the owner.
And here's the thing, in regards to the deadline, and I keep going back to that quote about the Rays saying they have all the ammo they need to go get any player in the league. And I can't help but think, if the Rays hadn't have come out of the All-Star break so weak like they have been, right?
Not
tanking. They're just look at the lineup they have to field out every day. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But you can only Band-Aid it for so long. And coming out of the break, 3 really important series, like we said, that I think are going to dictate what they do at the deadline. They're having this, I feel like they're kind of dipping their toes in the water, but they're not going in. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing with the moves they've made.
Yeah.
Like they've made them enough to be better and not have to have, 5 guys that are hitting under the Mendoza line every game. I mean, that drives me insane.
Yeah.
People can tell me they don't care about batting average, but it drives me insane to
Well,
see
look
5
at the
guys
results.
hitting under
The offense
Mendoza
is
line.
awful.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
if you were getting some great production out of these guys when you put these particular lineups out there, I'd say, okay, it's the Rays way, but they're not.
Yeah.
They can't score runs.
And the other thing too, it's like I look at who's available out there. I mean, Josh Bell is one of those guys that I mentioned a long time ago, and I thought would be a great fit, a big bopper, and you have to pay a little bit for him, but I think it's worth it. The problem with Josh Bell, and the Rays are still in on him, is the Dodgers have this fantasy of bringing in not just Juan Soto, but Josh Bell in a package, which is just going to absolutely I can't stand it, man.
No, it's horrible for baseball.
It's just going to break baseball.
It's terrible for baseball.
Just give him the trophy.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
What we're steamrolling towards? Let's just accept it. We're steamrolling towards an MLB wet dream of the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series. That's what we're just steamrolling, because the Yankees saw what they did yesterday too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're just doing whatever they want.
Well, and I've told you this for years and years. The Dodgers and the Yankees could spend $500 million on payroll and still make money. It doesn't matter. And with no salary cap in baseball, and for a few years, the non-revenue, the non-huge revenue teams like the Rays and the Braves and some of these others were doing pretty well. The Braves got their new stadium, so now they're a bigger spender. But now the disparity is so huge. And, there was a time when a commissioner autonomously would say, no, we're not going to allow, these trades and teams to be stacked up because it's not in the best interest of baseball. And they would step in. At some point, the commissioner needs to step in and say, no, the Dodgers can't, just because we have no salary cap, they just can't hoard all the great talent in the league, and the Yankees too. It's ridiculous. And I mean, but that's not going to happen because we don't have an autonomous commissioner anymore. It's bad for baseball. It's bad. And I think that's why they want to add more teams to the playoffs to make it look like they're actually competitive. And getting to the playoffs and being competitive for the World Series are two completely different things.
And also, too, the other team that's in on that same kind of deal is the Padres. When did the Padres just all of a sudden decide they wanted to have big bucks? When did that happen?
They sell out. They have big TV contract. They have money. San Diego is a big market.
My point is, it's like my entire lifetime, the Padres sucked. And then all of a sudden, like the last 5 years, they decided they want to spend money and they want to play with the big boys.
Well, that's the owner. That's the owner. That's the owner. The owner says, I want to win.
I'm grouping them now with the Yankees because every time there's a big name out there, it's the Yankees, it's the Padres, it's the Cardinals, it's the Dodgers. Same 4 teams every time.
Ownership. The 3 most important things in sports. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Get a new stadium, fill it up, and go spend money. And that's all about ownership.
Yeah.
And our owner doesn't want to do it. And I know nobody wants to talk about the owner, but that's what's holding his team back. It's what's holding the whole area back.
Well,
dude.
My point with that is the Juan Soto thing was a long shot from the beginning, even though I wanted the Rays to get in there, but it looks like they backed out pretty quickly.
Yep.
The Josh Bell thing I thought was perfect, but if he's going to be in a package with Soto, it's just not working. And then the other name was Trey Mancini, who I would have loved to see here. But obviously, I mean, the Orioles weren't going to trade him in division like that. I don't understand why the Orioles traded him in the first place. Like, did you have to trade him?
No.
Like, you're in the playoff hunt. You might
for the first time in forever.
It's not like you
trade your most popular player.
Yeah, that's I understand. It's like they're going to lose him in the offseason. They wanted to get something back, but like,
maybe they feel like
go for it.
Maybe they feel like he's going to come back and play for them at some point.
No, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah. Well, if I'm an Oriole fan today, I'm like, are you kidding me? We're just getting good, and we're going to trade our best player.
He's
or one of our best players,
but he's
who has been our rock through the years.
But I'll say the Orioles have a young nucleus coming through. He's part of the older guard, and they probably just want to have a full reset. I got that. It's just you're in a playoff hunt right now, and you're probably just like in no man's land. Like, what do we do?
Yeah,
because they already had set in their mind they were going to trade Trey Mancini. I mean, all you did was you made the Astros a much better ball club with doing that. Which some of these moves I don't understand. Why are the Red Sox trading Christian Vasquez to? What did they trade him to? The Astros, right? They traded him to the Astros too.
My head's spinning.
Yeah, it's because they played him last night.
Yeah,
and then he had
to walk across to the other dugout, which is crazy.
Why are we making the teams that we're competing with better? I don't understand that philosophy in baseball. I mean, did you notice that? That's been the theme yesterday.
Yes.
I couldn't for the life of me. The Red Sox and the Yankees. Could you imagine the Red Sox just trading Xander Bogaerts to the Yankees?
No.
If they wanted to really sell?
No, that made no sense.
Although,
what is Chaim Bloom doing?
I really couldn't tell you. But the one thing too, I think, we haven't really got into. I mean, we mentioned it, but Brett Phillips obviously.
Yeah, I was going to get to that next.
Got to DFA'd. I thought, I kind of was a little hard on him yesterday because I just didn't understand for the life of me why Josh Lowe was sent down and he wasn't, or DFA'd, because I just didn't think there'd be much interest on him in the waiver market. It's the opposite. There is a lot of interest on the waiver market for him. And when I saw last night that the Yankees were like the most aggressive team on him.
Brett Phillips?
On Brett Phillips, that really pissed me off.
Are you serious?
You want to talk about a gut punch?
Yeah.
It's not, and it doesn't have anything to do with what Brett Phillips does on the field. It's just taking that guy from us, basically our face of the franchise, and now he's on your team, and he's just another spoke in the wheel for you.
How does he fit there?
I don't know.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Is it just a shot at the Rays?
The Yankees are trying to flip Gallo and Miguel Andujar and Aaron Hicks right now. That's kind of on their little agenda right now, is to get those three guys off the team today. So Brett Phillips
goes to the Yankees and then gets hot.
Yeah, he'd have time with the short porch and right and everything.
That would just be awful.
That would just be such a gut punch to see him playing for that team.
Hey, can you cue up his goodbye?
Yep.
I'd like to just play that, and I just wanted to take a moment here to just thank Brett Phillips for doing what he does. And I said this on Twitter. It's like, it sucks because I wish he could hit better because we'd love to have him around, but hitting in Major League Baseball is hard, especially these days with the way these guys throw. And what's not hard is signing autographs every day, even if it's for a couple of minutes. What's not hard is being gracious to the fans all the time. What's not hard is interacting with the fans all the time. What's not hard is making baseball fun. And I wish the other players would learn from him, because that's all that takes is a little bit of effort and kindness. And it's really not that hard. Anybody can do it. It doesn't take a special talent. It just takes being selfless. And that's what we're going to miss, and the fans are going to miss. Here's Brett saying goodbye to the fans.
Rays fans, it's been an absolute pleasure and honor to play for my hometown team. It sucks, but we all know business is business. I'm going to dust myself off and keep moving forward. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all for the support the last couple of years. We've had a heck of a time. All I ask is you guys continue to go out there and support the Rays. I've seen this fan base grow in the last couple years, and it's been awesome. Until next time, and never forget, baseball is fun, baby.
Yeah, what a class act, man. What a dude. He's not pissed off at the organization. He's just like, support the team. And a lot of fans were pissed. They were pissed. mean, we kind of saw it coming, but, I will say this, some of the other guys they're keeping, why not keep Brett Phillips? But I get it. If you're going to make the team better, you got to make the team better. And at this point, he just doesn't. It's a little weird. I got to just say this. It's a little weird that they waited for the giveaway and all that.
I saw it coming.
I mean, I know, but God, to make it that obvious, could you wait a week? Maybe. I don't know.
It is what it is. It is what it is. It's a business. It's brutal. But I mean, when I saw that video, it's the least surprising thing. And Brett Phillips goes out as graciously as that. And the fact that, he's no longer in that organization, he still tells the fans, please support this team.
Yeah.
Please support this team. And, the fact of the matter is, the whole cliche is you grow up, in the backyard, right? Playing catch with your dad or playing baseball, and you dream of playing in the World Series for your hometown team. It's all a cliche.
Right.
And this guy lived that dream. He lived that dream. And when I talk about the greatest moments in this franchise's history, I think that is the greatest play. Brett Phillips.
I mean, a walk-off in a World Series game. How many World Series games have we won? 4? I believe.
3.
Yeah, 3. And what a hometown kid walks it off.
Yeah. And the airplane moment that he had. This year, it feels like so long ago, but this year he gave us the moment with Chloe Grimes.
That's right.
And,
that's right.
The Rays capitalized on that and did the right thing and put it everywhere and made a commercial out of it. And we said this earlier around, and it's crazy how things change in 4 months, because 4 months ago we were talking about, this guy's the face of the Rays. He's the face of the Rays. He was on Sunday Night Baseball doing like an interview on that Michael K. and A-Rod telecast.
Yeah.
He was everywhere.
All-star reporter.
This guy was everywhere, and he was good. He was putting good pub for the Rays. With the injuries this year, he probably got put in a role that was not suited for him.
Yeah,
having to play probably a lot, and let's be transparent. We ran a poll saying, should he play more than Kevin Kiermaier?
Right.
Arguing for that. And I think majority of people voted for Brett Phillips. But things change, and, unfortunately, his bat just wasn't able to live up to that playing time that he received. And when I say it wasn't living up to it, I mean stretches of like 0 for like 30s and 0 for 40s.
Yeah, it was
1
bad.
for 50s.
It was really bad.
Like it just got to a point where you couldn't do it anymore. But like I said, that guy lived the dream that every kid wants to.
Yeah,
he did.
He did. And, will he be back here? I think you could see the Rays re-signing him at some point. If he's got to improve, though. I mean, if he goes to another team, which I'm very interested to see that other teams are interested in him. I'm a little, I don't want to say shocked, but because of his offensive struggles. The
other teams that are going after him are like the big boys. And at that point, it's like, we don't need you to play every day. We want you to come in here and be, a great ambassador for the club, and you're going to be, very infectious to everybody. That's what he can provide.
People see value in that, and there's
a lot of value in that.
Yeah, yeah. I understand completely where the Rays are at on this deal. I really do, but I also think that it's sad for the fans. It really is, because they've really gravitated to him for great reason. And it sucks. It sucks that that is the business of baseball. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Couple other real quick ones here before we hit our first break. What else do we have here?
Well, I was just going to give an update here. I mentioned Wilson Contreras, and Ken Rosenthal just tweeted that it looks like it's the Rays and the Mets right now for Wilson Contreras.
Man, this is the thing. We talked about this maybe last week. The catching position is just something that the Rays have got to solidify, and not just for this year, but for years to come.
Yeah.
And if there's any place that they're going to spend money, and you can get a good defensive catcher who's also really good offensively, I mean, you're getting 2 players in one, really, for my money. And I just think this is, I'm not a whatever it takes guy, but be aggressive here. Be aggressive, because you can solve a lot of issues with one player, and you're going to have to pay him some money. But again, the Rays have $23 million on the books next year. $23 million. Kiermaier's off the books. Who are they freaking paying? And again, the league average is 160. 160. You're at 23 for next year. You can't add a 15 to 20. You can add a few $15 to $20 million players, frankly. And I know you're going to have to pay. I mean, Franco, obviously you got that deal done, and it's going to go up and it's going to escalate, but not to a huge number next year. I think it's only $1 million again next year, I think. And then it jumps to $5 million.
It doesn't go up a lot now.
Yeah. So I mean, next year they have a lot of good young pitchers under control. McClanahan, Rasmussen. As Kluber's deal for 1 or 2 years?
I thought he was a 1 year.
Yeah. But, Glass now, if they hold on to him, will be $6 or $7 million. So they got a great chance next year to be really, really good. But you're not going to be good if you're going with Pinto and Betancourt. That's just not where you want to be.
Here's the thing, though, and speaking specifically to Wilson Contreras, this is what concerns me about that report is that the Mets are the other team, because the Mets are always going to be able to spend money.
Yep.
The Rays are not. Their lifeline is the prospects they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, the Mets are probably going to be more willing to trade their top prospects than the Rays are in a deal, because the Mets are like, yeah, we can work that out. We'll always be able to sign guys, is my point. And here's why that's notable. Because Wilson Contreras is a catcher, and if the Cubs trade him, they're obviously probably going to want something back at that position.
Right. We got nothing.
Let me tell you who the Mets have. The number 1 overall prospect in baseball, this is the new rankings for MLB.com, is Francisco Alvarez, catcher, New York Mets. I'm not saying that if I was running the Mets, I'm trading the number 1 overall prospect for Wilson Contreras. I'm not saying I'm doing that. I don't think that's a smart thing. I'm saying if you're the Mets and you've seen what the Braves are doing and you're desperate to win something, it would not shock me if the Mets dangled their little number 1 overall prospect catcher in there and tried to get Wilson Contreras and maybe more from the Cubs. And that's what concerns me, if the Rays are going to have to get in a little bit of a war here with the Mets.
Ooh, yeah. How do you compete with that?
Because if you're the Cubs, if the Mets offer you the number 1 overall prospect in baseball, you're running to the league office to report that trade.
Hell yeah.
So I just don't know. You talk about the Rays getting aggressive. I don't know how much more aggressive you can get than that if the Mets come with that offer.
Now, how do you match that? And
then at that point, it's like, to me, it's not worth it. Then.
Yeah. Do the Cubs have anybody else in their system that they're counting on to take over for Contreras?
Not off the top of my head that I know of.
Yeah. So that's the deal they got to be looking at, because
if you're the Cubs, how do you not at least ask it? Ask for it.
It's mandatory. You got to do it. And if you're the Mets, this is what these other teams do. They don't covet prospects like the Rays do, because of, the Rays use them to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Where the Mets know they're going to make a lot of money anyway, and they can go out and buy stars and not have to guess whether prospects are going to pan out. And that's how the big boys do it. We're never going to be in that situation.
I'll tell you this, though.
With our owner.
I tell you this, what if the Rays, if they pivot, another name that's out there is Omar Narvaez, who was the catcher for the Brewers. And the Brewers are doing weird things right now, obviously. And a lot of teams have been catching on him. He's 30, like Wilson Contreras. He's making $5 million this year, so the Rays wouldn't have to pay him much for the rest of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a free agent after the offseason. And I still don't think he'd be that much of an expensive guy if they wanted to keep him around. As far as I'm concerned, he's a pretty good hitting catcher. He's better than what the Rays have right now. So I don't know. Maybe the Rays, if they find that it's uncomfortable for them to be in that Wilson Contreras thing, maybe they go and get an Omar Narvaez.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's another name that I'll throw out there for Rays fans today. But I think regardless, I think you're going to see a move for the Rays today.
Yeah,
you are going to see a move today for the Rays.
And it could be big. Let's buckle in.
Yep, Narvaez was an all-star last year. So
yeah,
there you go.
To me, any moves they make really have to be about the future. I mean, and hopefully they'll help you this year as well. But with all the injuries that the Rays have this year, trying to give up good players,
it's hard
for rentals, or just trying to stay competitive with the Yankees and the Blue Jays. Then I just don't think it's worth it this year. I don't think they're going to make those moves. So whatever moves they make have to be with an eye towards the future.
I'm just more trades are coming through right here, like rapid fire. And I'm just, what are the Orioles doing?
What did they do now?
Now they're trading their all-star closer to the Twins, Jorge Lopez.
Oh my God, he's so nasty.
Yeah, he just traded all-star closer to the Twins. I mean, it looks like they're just trying to sell these guys when they're at their highest value, regardless of where they are.
They're doing the Rays thing.
I mean, they're understanding they're not going to win the World Series, and they're content not making the playoffs or at least competing because they've already overachieved.
Right.
I guess that's what the Orioles are doing. But again, just making all these teams in the AL
so much better. So much better.
It's not good for the Rays.
Yeah, it's not good for baseball. It's not good for baseball that this is what's going on, because these smaller market teams or lower revenue teams are just going to, do what the Rays do. And it's not because they perfected it and everybody sees that it works in terms of making money. The owners know that they can make a crap ton of money. It's like it's almost like, look, we're never going to compete with the big boys, so I might as well make a crap ton of money and just be as competitive as we can be. And baseball has to address that. They're never going to get to a salary cap, but they've got to do more things for these lower revenue teams. And I'm not talking in terms of revenue sharing as much as I am, because they all have money. They can spend money. They choose not to, especially the Rays. But maybe in terms of drafting and making some other adjustments so they can keep them competitive. I don't know how the exact details of it, but they got to do it because this is getting ridiculous. All right, we'll take our first break after 39 minutes of uninterrupted sports talk. We'll take our first break. Thank our sponsors, including Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, American Mortgage Services, the Gold and Diamond Source. We thank you all. Back in 3. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. the law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source. The Gold and Diamond Source, your source for any great jewelry item that you're interested in. Don't forget they have designers on campus right there. So whatever you want to make, if you want to make something like a Wander Franco-ish type of medallion that you can hang around your neck that has your name on it and diamonds encrusted, heck, they'll do that for you. If you want to get an engagement ring, of course, they have a great staff. The best prices and everything is handpicked by Steve Weintraub for its cut, its clarity, its color, everything there. At any budget you have, they will take care of you. That's why we love the Golden Diamond Source, and they're a great community partner as well with all their charitable work. So keep it local. How we doing over there?
Doesn't sound like it's a much better day at practice today for this offense.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm just reading. It's like Psycho Tom is here at practice.
Oh, my God.
This is also
Tristan Wirfs has been carted off quickly.
Yeah.
Josh Wells in at right tackle.
Yeah.
More updates coming.
Yeah.
Per Rick Stroud.
Yeah, that's you told me off air Brady might retire.
You know what's interesting? I heard Rick actually say this in his podcast. We were, I was just thinking this, but I dare not say it. It's like, can you see Brady just like a lot of bad stuff happen? Just like, nah, I'm out. Because, I mean, this is only about winning a Super Bowl. And if he feels like there's too many injuries in camp where they're just behind the eight ball, he could just say, you know what? I'm done. Oh, my God.
Let me tell you what. If this is so hypothetical, but if that happened, then can
you imagine all these corporations that have paid top dollar for their luxury boxes and everything had to make like a 5-year commitment? I mean,
I would return the Super Bowl then. I might
return the Lombardi.
I'd return the Lombardi. I'd be like, take it out of $1. I don't want it.
You can't do that.
I don't want it. And I'll go right back to being like every other Tom Brady
hater. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this again, be clear-eyed about it. It's what we've told you. We love the fact that Tom Brady is here and he's playing for the Bucs this year. But again, if you think he's like all in on Peter and Red and he's bleeds Buccaneer, no, he is a mercenary here. This is the place where he feels he can win a Super Bowl. It's why he came here. It's why he came back here. And if that's not going to be the case, if there's a rash of injuries, I think he would absolutely retire.
We'll see if we get an update from Todd Bowles.
You think he's going to struggle with the schedule that they're going to go through? He's going to struggle with a banged up offensive line and get blasted? Hell to the no. That ain't happening.
He's not having Robert Hainsey, Aaron Stinney, and
Josh Wells. No,
that's not going to be his right side of the line.
No, that is not happening.
I was bringing it up only at bad practice because I see here Vita Vea wraps up Leonard Fournette in the backfield. Brady screams, "You got to get one more effing yard," which I could hear that honestly right now. So sounds like Brady's getting a pretty intense there at the moment.
Well, you know
it's
what?
The heat, man.
It is. It's so hot out there today, and there's no breeze. It is going to get guys. It's going to get guys pissed off.
Yeah. Nothing serious with Tristan Wirfs, by the way, is the new report.
Nothing serious. Okay, good.
So now we can move on from what we just said for the last 2 minutes.
But hey, it could still happen. I just, we're just not trying to paint this scenario, but it is what it is. Again, if it's not the most ridiculous scenario to happen, just be prepared if it were to happen. Anything else from practice? We're just going through some of the tweets here, but thank God nothing serious with Tristan Wirfs because we saw what that looked like last year. Rashad White is having looks like he's having a real good camp day today as well, making some plays. Keanu Neal, according to Casey Hudson from Pewter Report, who's going to be on with us tomorrow at 11:30, said he's thumping people out there. I'm salivating at the idea of getting rookie first-year player Keanu Neal, who was dominant when he came in with the Falcons. The guy is just – he knows how to hit. He knows he's a playmaker. And if he could stay healthy, which he's never really been able to do for any long stretch of time, that's a guy that could really make impact.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the Bucs use him. I keep kind of going back to that defense that Bowles used to run in Arizona with the Deion Buchanan.
Yeah,
kind of how they used him there. I feel like that's kind of his type of role that I think that he would fit in an NFL defense. Do the Bucs want to put him there necessarily? That remains to be seen. But again, I think when we talked about all these additions, he's a guy that just kind of went under the radar. That's going to be on this team week one. And, again, it's all about insurance. It really is all about insurance for the Bucs. We saw what the cornerback situation looked like in the secondary last year when they had some injuries. You don't want to go down that route again.
Hell no.
That's what the whole theme of this offense, I feel like, is being. He's like, we're going to have depth at 5, 6, 7 long.
Yeah.
So that when injuries happen, which they will, we're not going to really have to fall off much.
Yeah. Yeah, but the offensive line, nobody has depth. The Bucs have about as much depth there as any team, to be quite honest. But it's just tough. It's tough to get those.
Really? I was told the offensive line is in shambles. I didn't. You're telling me they have depth? I mean, that's what everybody's saying. It's all in shambles.
Yeah. Well, if they can get to obviously losing Ryan Jensen is so huge. This is why I'm just shocked that they haven't gone out and gotten a veteran. So, all right. And speaking to that, we wanted to hit you because yesterday we were kind of doing this on the fly with Tom Brady's comments and, looking around local media. I think some of the veteran reporters kind of got the same feel that I did, that Brady's pissed about the Jensen injury. And I think he's pissed about the fact that the organization has not gone out and gotten JC Tedder. That's just my speculation. But again, here's Brady yesterday when asked right off the bat about Hainsey.
Obviously, everyone's heartbroken with what happened to Ryan. So
heartbroken.
That'll take a little time, but Haynes got to, step into the job and do a great job. So he's worked hard last year, really gained the trust of a lot of people, and he's got to go earn it. So like all of us, it's not what you did, how hard you worked in the off season. It's how good of a football player are you. So it's to be determined for all of us.
I could just see him having that exact conversation with Jason Light. Well, Tom, he's worked really hard in the offseason. We really feel confident that he can do the job. That's why he's here. He's a 3rd-round pick. He's a smart guy. He's like, I don't care how hard he's worked in the offseason. I don't care how smart he is. How good of a football player is he? I don't know. I know how good J.C. Treader is. He's got a track record in this league. I can hear that conversation word for word. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. And I bet you Tom Brady's rebuttal would likely be, as I try to find a random name here. Hold up. It lends to my point. One sec. Let me find it.
Tom Brady's rebuttal?
Yeah, Tom Brady's rebuttal would be, all right, I can't find a good example. My point is he'd probably be like, well, you know what, Jason? I was a 6th-round pick.
Right.
I was a 6th-round pick.
It's how good of a player you are.
I'll just say Chad Pennington, who wasn't that bad of a player, but he was a 1st-round pick.
Right.
Chad Pennington was a 1st-round pick.
Yeah.
So,
especially with offensive linemen.
My point with that is Tom Brady just doesn't really give a rip what the draft position is on these guys.
No.
He really doesn't. So if you try to sell that onto him, I really think he sees right through that.
Yeah, of course he does. And he doesn't tolerate young, inexperienced players making mistakes. He just doesn't. And that's why he is who he is. But obviously older players get injured and so do younger players. So look, to me, if you can go out and do it and make the move, the guy is available or there are trades available, go do it. And I think that's what. Well, let's play one. But did you have one more for Brady?
That was Brady for the day. There.
Okay. So but that's the one. That's the one. And
if you're going to take anything away from what he said yesterday, because it wasn't much, that was the one.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's get little Carlton Davis, who obviously was paid handsomely in the offseason, as being paid as one of the premier corners in the game. And I believe he only had one pick last year. The Bucs corners just have not been very good at getting interceptions. They break up a lot of passes, but they haven't been good at getting the interceptions. And that clearly has been the focus of camp for them. So let's listen in on some of Carlton Davis from yesterday.
I want to dominate the league. You know, I want to be the premier corner in the league. I want to be the most feared corner. I want to lead the league in pass breakups, interceptions, and I want every NFL team to know that I'm an issue. I feel closer every day. You know, every day is a grind, and I think you gotta, in order to achieve your goals, it takes one day at a time, one play at a time, one moment at a time. So, just trying to get better in that moment, in that play, and turning the page the next day to correct your mistakes and move forward. And I feel like I'm doing that every day, and I'm just trying to compete with anybody at the highest level.
Well, that's a lot of aspirations right there. Fantastic. I'm glad he has those aspirations.
Yeah.
Go out and get her done.
Yeah. And kind of how, like, we talked about Devin White a lot yesterday, where he needs to take that next step in his growth. And then his comes down to coverage and slowing things down. If this guy's going to be one of the best corners in football, which I think he's one of the best cover guys at the moment.
Yeah.
He needs to start picking balls off. You need to be a ball hawk. That's what you have to be in this league, I think, to be considered one of the best. And and you know, he's starting to get some of his due because everybody on the Bucs is now because of the Brady effect. We get that. But yeah, he's been paid pretty handsomely now, probably the highest paid corner by far in the history of this franchise, I'd have to say.
I think we gave Darrelle Revis $20 million.
Did we give Darrelle Revis $20 million even in 2013?
I think it was $20 million. And we gave up a first-round pick and then cut him in a year. One of the worst deals ever.
I think he was like an all-pro the year after that.
Yeah. He came here to rehab his knee, went about half speed. We made him play zone the whole time. And I forget who they got a really good – the Jets, it was the 12th overall pick, I think it was. And they got a really good defensive lineman whose name escapes me.
Was it Sheldon Richardson?
Yeah, it was. It was. What a horrible deal. And everybody saw it coming down the tracks.
That's a good question for TJ because I know he has some fond memories of that era.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, one of the worst deals ever.
But anyway, point is he's one of the highest paid cornerbacks that the Bucs have had, and I think you know Rondé made play. I don't want to compare him to Rondé, but Rondé made plays obviously all over the field.
Yeah.
Ryan Kelly obviously was a ball hawk in this defense for a good while.
Yeah.
I'm looking for who's going to be that next guy because I think he's the next good to great Bucs corner.
Well, Antoine Winfield evidently has been playing a lot of in the slot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they may be using him as a corner because they got to get turnovers. They got to turn these. I mean, how many passes has Jamel Dean dropped right in his hands? I mean, my God, that guy could easily have 10 to 15 more picks in the past couple of years.
And does that tell me, because I saw that report, I think it was of Antoine Winfield playing nickel. Does that kind of tell you right there where the Bucs' feeling is on Sean Murphy-Bunting?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's not
in a contract.
Yeah, if he's not getting the message, he will soon. He will soon. No question about it. All right, we got some more from Carlton.
Yeah, here's him talk about Julio Jones, who, in his words, has been a freak in camp thus far.
Here we go.
Still a freak, huge, looks like a tight end, runs like Scotty, and stops on the dime like Jalen Darden. So it's like the whole package. And, he's bringing back memories of playing him in Atlanta, before he was hurt. It was a tough matchup, but, having him on our team, being able to compete with him and going to war with him this upcoming season is exciting for me. I always love a good competition in practice that, get me ready for the season. So adding him to the mix on top of the talent we already had is just like amazing. It's fun. It's fun to come to practice and go against 3 or 4 Hall of Famers every day. And knowing that, if you can win here, you can win anywhere.
Damn. I mean, you can't get more of a ringing endorsement than the guy that's covering him. That's what I've always said about Julio. He's the complete receiver when he's healthy. You can't believe that a guy that big could stop that quickly and run that fast.
I feel like some of those games in 2019, if my memory's correct here, Carlton Davis was the guy who was assigned to Julio Jones, was he not?
Of course.
I don't think it ended well.
No, it did not.
Which it hasn't ended well for most corners.
Like 250 yards, I think it was.
Yeah. So I'm sure Carlton Davis sees this guy in his nightmares. But I mean, it's gonna make all these corners better, having to go up against these guys every single day in practice. These really quick, shifty guys, these guys who have done so much in this league. It has to make these guys better in the competition. And that's just the thing. It's like beyond of what it's going to provide for this team every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whatever it is, on the games they play. It's about the guys that are already in the building going up against them every single day. These guys, I mean, you'd think they have to get better from it.
Yeah. Yeah, no question about it. This is why I said in the beginning of camp, the biggest thing is competition. It's going to make everybody better. There's so much talent out there. This is the best roster I think the Bucs have ever had, and it's going to make everybody better. But we may have to bubble wrap the offensive line though before we get into all this, because that's going to be such a huge key for this team.
Can we put the bubble wrap? Did you see Jason Kelsey making fun of the Guardian caps on the helmet? And he came to practice with bubble wrap on top of it.
I love it.
I think we should just do that on everybody's legs from now on.
Yes.
Just put them all there.
Absolutely. I want to remind you that financial times obviously are really, really tough. Everybody's trying to make their dollar stretch. So how good would it be if you could save thousands and thousands of dollars on your insurance? We all pay different insurance, right? Well, Italiano Insurance has this insurance checkup. It's really, really cool. Just give them a call, 813-877-7799, and give them your information on your auto insurance, life insurance, homeowners insurance, obviously. And what they'll do is they'll shop it around to all the different companies they represent. If you just call a 1-800 number, you're dealing with one company. This is a company in Italiano Insurance, which obviously a great local company. We like to keep it local. It's going to shop it around and get you the best deal. There are new homeowners insurance companies coming into the market that are trying to get some of the market here in Florida. So there's a lot of different things that are going on. Auto insurance the same way. So let them shop it around, do the work, and they could save you literally thousands of dollars. We've had tons of people over the years say they save $1,400, $1,600, $25,000 on their business insurance. So if you have a company and you haven't shopped your business insurance for a long time, you could be getting so overcharged you have no idea. So go to Italiano Insurance and find out. Let them shop all your insurance. 813-877-7799. And tell them JP sent you, by the way. And once again, coming up here in September, they'll be doing their August and September. They're doing their backpacks for all the underprivileged kids here locally. So always giving back to the community, and you can help in that effort as well. Just call 813-877-7799 and make a donation and help some kids that can't afford regular school supplies get to school this year with a jam-packed backpack. They do a great job with that each and every year. All right, quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more Rays, some more Buccaneers. We'll get you up to date. We may have some live audio from Bucs camp, so stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new, healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Our second hour brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Christopher Lugo and his team will take great care of you over there. And if you're looking for a new primary care physician, great way to go. They do everything on a personal level. They're going to find out what you're eating, how you're exercising, what you're allergic to, what you can eat, what works well for you, and give you a personal plan for optimal health. Get you your immune system built back up for the next wave of pandemics, the monkeypox. But if you have a COVID diagnosis, in all sincerity, they're doing a great job and having great success with their COVID patients, and their protocol is fantastic. They'll do things for you that other doctors will not, and it works. So if you do get a COVID diagnosis quickly, go to BAMMC.com, and Christopher Lugo will take great care of you. Works with our military, works with our pilots, keeps them in tip-top shape, can do the same for you. If you're looking for testosterone replacement therapy, great place to get that done because they really, really monitor your blood work and make sure that everything is going well. A lot of places do not do that. You've really got to have your blood work done at least every quarter to make sure that your testosterone levels are within limits and where you want to be, because everyone is different. And a lot of these other places, it's just a one-size-fits-all strategy. So go where you're going to get personal attention. That's Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. All right, so the Bucs are coming to the podium. Antoine Winfield, Leonard Fournette is expected to talk today, and there was a play today, according to some of the reporters out there, where Brady screamed at him, you got to get more than one effing yard. And that's not just on Fournette. That's on the entire running game. So, and again, I'll say this, good luck running against this defense when I look out there and I see Vita Vea, Akeem Hicks, and Will Golston, that's as big and as athletic and a defensive line as maybe the Bucs have ever had. And going back to the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl. I mean, think about that. Hicks is 6'4", 340, 350. Vita Vea is 6'4", 350. And Will Golston is 6'6", 305. That's big. That's really, really big. And you've got two fast linebackers in the middle, Shaq Barrett and Tryon coming off the edge, and a secondary that is much improved. We just have not talked much about this defense. I'm excited about it.
Can't even turn my mic on. Yeah, it's going to be a very exciting. Let's go live here to Todd Bowles, by the way.
Bowlesy, here we go.
Bowlesy here. Maybe we'll get an update.
TJ Reeves coming up, 11:15.
Yes, might get an update here on Tristan Wirfs.
Here we go. Got cramps.
Yeah, he's fine. Just cramped up a little bit.
Yeah, it's worse.
Like every day. Do you have any more updates on Ryan Jensen and what his status will be for the year?
Not at this time, I don't.
They got some tests done yesterday, but evidently they don't.
Times it's ever been in Florida. Second day in pads. What did you think of practice, and what did you tell your guys after?
Started out good, obviously. The heat index got up there a little bit, so we took longer water breaks. But the effort's there. We just got to make sure the mental toughness is there. It won't always be this hot. Early in training camp, it's going to be training camp no matter what. But the effort's there. We just got to iron out the kinks to be expected early in training camp.
It was brutal today, folks.
Last year you had some days inside in your facility. Some of those were rain out in practice. Had to go inside. Would you just prefer to practice out here and not even use the indoor unless it was inclement weather, or are you planning to have a couple of practices inside just to get the guys a break from the heat?
We'll probably have some inside. We'll probably have some inside. We have some that we talked about wanting to go inside on some, but just getting them out here early, getting used to the pads and getting used to the heat and getting some extra conditioning was important.
Obviously, it's early in camp, but what are some things that you've noticed progression on, and what are some things that the team can really still kind of dig into?
It's early in camp. We can dig into everything. And, we got to make progress every day. It's going to be a grind every single day. I'm not going to say we got great at something one day and then we go back the next day. It's training camp. It's early. We got to progress as a team, not as one individual group or position. And that's where we're trying to get to. So right now, every day is a grind.
There, and I know it's hard for you to focus on one player at a time, but are you seeing any kind of one-on-ones that are drawing your eye, players that are kind of really starting to catch your eye now?
I'm seeing a lot of give and take. As it goes on, we want to see consistency, not one-day wonders or one-hit wonders. So it's a lot of give and take right now. Again, still early in a lot of position battles on day 2 of pads. So as it goes on, we'll see who starts to separate.
So Jones and Jamel Dean going up against each other a few times today, whether it's during team periods or in one-on-one.
Don't see him doing
that a guy
a lot.
like Dean, who's looking to take that next step in his career, learn from going up against a guy like Jones?
Anytime you're going up against a Hall of Famer, you're going to have some things you want to learn and you want to play your best. But Julio's smart mentally, and he has a lot of crafty moves at the line of scrimmage. So Dean can't do nothing but get better playing against a player like that.
We were talking yesterday about the importance to ramp up the interception total for the entire defense. Even mentioned 30 as a target number. How do you get that number up? Where does it start?
First of all, we got to catch the ones they throw to us.
Yes.
And then we got to be in the same place mentally. We got to be in position to make those type of plays. We dropped, I don't know how many last year, and Carlton dropped quite a few. He caught a bunch, but he dropped quite a few. But we just got to catch the ball. You can practice it all you want, but you got to catch them in the game. So that type of thing, getting tips and everything else helps and breaking on the ball. We just got to keep working at it.
Is it a matter of further testing is needed, waiting for swelling to go down? I don't know if you can share any of that with us.
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for everything, the testing and the swelling to go down so we can see more.
Second opinions too, things like that?
I'm sure of it.
The safety room, Keanu Neal's a bit of an outlier with his size. How can you use a bigger guy like that, in your hand when you're dealing out there on defense?
Well, he's a great safety. He's in good shape right now. He came out big. He came out when he's playing for Atlanta. He was a big safety. We knew that coming out. Well, what Cam does, he can think the game and he can play back. He's not just a box player. He understands schemes. He understands how to play zones, and he can play some man. So he's a utility size safety, but he impacts the game because when the ball is played on the perimeter so much, when smaller wideouts and running backs go try and block him, he can run right through them. So he has a role, and we're still trying to figure that part out, and we understand it, but we like everything he's doing.
It doesn't just limit him in the box, right? Like he's a guy that you could still.
No, he's a safety. We don't have any handcuffs on him. He's a safety. He's practicing all the safety stuff, and he's doing good. He's a little heavier in Dallas because he had to play linebacker, but he's gotten back inside, and he looks good.
He's lost.
If maybe 10 or 12, give or take, but he's gotten down to his playing weight when he was coming out of college.
Some big moments last year and some big games. You guys had some miscommunication on defense, maybe some on the back end. How much of an emphasis is that now? You've had the bulk of these guys have been together for 4 years.
No, it's a big emphasis, not just the back end, all the way around, offensively and defensively. If we don't have communication and not on the same page, we can't execute at a high level. And that's what most of this stuff that's going on in practice is centering around right now. Situational football, being the same page and being smart. Time will only get you so far. You got to be intelligent to make it the rest of the way.
center and interior offensive line in camp already. But I want to ask you about tackle and just what stood out to you and the guys backing up and competing for the back tackle spot.
Well, you got to be able to play both sides, obviously. That plays a lot to do with it. So you got to be intelligent, probably without getting the reps. So that's going to be important going forward as well. It's hard to find backup tackles because if a tackle is that good as a backup, he's probably a starter. So you have to develop them. You have to make them. We got a couple guys that we're looking at right now. We got some that we've had, and we got some new ones. So that will play itself out as we go forward.
Has been out in the system for 3 years. You know, he obviously had to make some adjustments coming over from Jacksonville. But where do you see him excelling in the system?
Just his endurance, being an every down back. You know, he's a 3-down back. And before he was a 2-down back, he's become a 3-down back. He was a great pass catcher when he came out of college. He just didn't get the volume. So now you're seeing the volume of that in his versatile game, that you can't just crowd the box because he can catch the ball. And I think that's where his game grew.
He's got some moves, too, for a big guy.
I watched him coming out. I've seen him. He's light of foot no matter how big he is, but he understands the passing game, and he can run away from you.
Todd Bowles, Buccaneers head coach. It's still getting used to that. But it still feels like there is very little change out there. Very little change with Todd Bowles. Everything really looks the same, except they're not doing the 2 field practices that they did before with a lot of the rookies playing on the other ones. Everybody's kind of more together. And interesting to say that you could see that he's thinking about bringing those guys inside for some inside work. Remember this: getting used to the heat outside is great. Staying out there the whole time is not. It's not. I think the Bucs have learned this, that, you know, in past years, it's like, oh, well, we practice in this heat, it's going to be an advantage. No, if you practice in the heat all the time, it's a disadvantage, because by the time you get to Sunday, your body is drained. And you got to be really careful. And there, sports science is amazing now, because they monitor how much weight you lose each and every practice. They know exactly how much you have to put back into your system from a fluid standpoint. Guys are told exactly how much they need to drink before next practice. So it's incredible. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, TJ Reeves, Bucs sideline guy, is going to join us, and we'll go over all issues Buccaneers. Stay with us. Quick break. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and by Hero Smile. It's a unique rehab facility where veterans serve veterans. They do amazing work with this new approach, and it's working wonders where traditional facilities have failed. And here's why. You'll be working with fellow veterans who truly understand your unique perspective. You won't find a cold institutional military barracks here. It's a patient-oriented facility offering a warm, inviting, and comfortable environment where veterans and service dogs are always welcome. 10 acres secluded near the land, numerous recreational and athletic activities that will provide camaraderie, spiritual renewal, and the opportunity to challenge yourself or simply partake in nature. Activities such as art therapy, equine therapy, sports activities can help you work through recovery and into a new, healthy way of living. They're a community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center. They have your 6 military guys. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's 888-VET-NOW-2. All right, I want to welcome in our Bucs sideline guy, TJ Reeves, here to join us to talk some Buccaneers and NFL. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Always good to be with you, and it is that time. We're getting down to business, as we like to say.
We are.
Getting down to business at training camp. You've been out there. The heat, stifling. I was not out there today, but I know some people that were just out there, and the practice just concluded. And by the way, I don't know what it's doing in South Tampa. Not that everybody cares about the meteorology, but we are about to have a monster thunderstorm here in Lutz, in the northern suburbs. So stand by. So luckily they got all the work in. Apparently didn't have to use the indoor facility earlier today down at the Advent Health Training Center at One Buck Place.
Yeah, I heard some rumble of thunder, but as you looked up, it was nothing but blue sky and a hot sun. And that big flag was not even flinching.
Wow.
It was just dead. And it was so hot out there today. I mean, it was brutal. I knew that they'd have cramp problems. Tristan Wirfs had cramp problems. Everybody's yelling and screaming. Brady's dropping F-bombs.
A typical training camp, a typical hot training camp day. And before we get into the nuts and bolts of this, let's say this for the 873rd time, but for the audience here. For the longest time, we have not been able to determine, is this truly an advantage to be practicing in this stuff? Or is it more to your detriment and it's not as big an advantage to be practicing in this stuff? Yes, they will be playing in it early on in the year. Of course, there's not a 1:00 home game until October. So the Packer game is a 4:25 game. The Chiefs game is a Sunday night game. But I can remember we referenced Ray Perkins last week, did we not? And the torturous 3-a-days that were just in the deathly heat and they had nothing left. Well, Sam Weich, who you remember, and you were around, I believe, at the end of his tenure, you got here right after that, he couldn't figure out, do we want to do the heat of the day? So they did country club. They did at night. Dave Moore called it this. They did the country club at night under the lights at Pepin Root Stadium. Yeah. And he's like, it was the softest, easiest training camp ever, and we were soft, and we sucked. So he was trying to save the legs because of the heat. So it has been a constant battle of, do you embrace the heat? Do you go inside to the practice facility, the indoor practice facility, if it's a certain temperature? Certainly you're going in there if it's lightning and raining. That's the main reason you go in there. Right. But do you protect some on days when it's going to be 157 with the heat index? It's been a great debate for 45 years of this franchise, my friend.
I think it should be different with regular season and training camp. I think right now it's fine to have them out there. I think this is when you should toughen them up, get them used to the heat. This is a good time to do it. But my conversations with Jeff Fain, you remember Jeff, the center, who played with the Saints, played with the Browns, and played with the Bucs. And he settled this for me totally. He said, look, I played a bunch of different places. I obviously played at Notre Dame as well. And he said, I'll just tell you this. During the season, by the time we got to Sunday, for the Buccaneers, when I was playing at Tampa Bay and we had practiced all week long in the heat, he goes, we were dead. We were dead. He goes, I mean, and that may have been a little hyperbole when he said dead. He said, but there was no question when I played at other places, I did not feel as fresh. Third and fourth quarters were really, really tough when I played with the Buccaneers. So I think that he said, without question, it does not do you any favors when you're doing it during the week because you're just depleting your body of that needed water and those electrolytes. And really, he's right. It's hard to get them put back in just by Sunday. So I think training camp, you can play around with it a little bit. But once you get to the regular season, and think about it, it's hot, as you know. It's really hot through the end of October here.
Right.
I mean, how many Halloweens do you have? You taking the kids out and it's 90 degrees outside, right? It's so those first 2 months of the season.
Let's just totally digress. Do you want a quick story about that? This is probably 3 years ago, October 2019 Halloween. So the Twins are into Grease, which obviously you've got a musically and theatrically inclined daughter, loves Grease.
Yeah.
Nick has no use for this. Most of the audience has no use for Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, and Grease, but it's on in my house all the time. So we have to go on Halloween to trick or treat, and the Twins and one of their friends want to be Sandy, the Olivia Newton-John character in the yellow dress with the pigtails.
Yeah.
And the other two want to be the pink ladies in their pink outfits, and I'm supposed to be Danny. And so I have a leather jacket. I don't own it. My father owns a leather jacket, and I'm supposed to wear this leather jacket. And to your point, we are trick-or-treating at like 6 p.m. And brother, I sweated through that thing in 5 minutes trick-or-treating. I had sweat in areas that I didn't know I had areas from trying to portray, look, with the dark sunglasses and the white shirt and the leather jacket. And I even had on the phone, I had the YouTube of the Grease theme. And every time that we would come up near a house, I would start playing the Grease theme to let them know that we were the Grease characters or whatever. By like the third house, I was over that because I was sweating to death and needing an IV bag. So just to your point, yes, it's going to be hot all the way through October when you're playing those 1 o'clock games, and they got to figure out how to manage that.
Yeah, choose your costumes well, kids. None of those plastic sticky things. They'll drive you nuts. Yeah, it was hot out there today. But I got to ask you about this. I'm sure you heard the Brady comments yesterday. And I took it to say, look, he's pissed about Ryan Jensen, and he wants a veteran center in here. And I think he's letting everybody know that he's not as down with the Robert Hainsey experiment as maybe the rest of the organization. Am I overselling this?
Well, I mean, I go back and forth on two or three different things. Yes, you would much prefer to have a veteran and an experienced guy as opposed to an unproven guy. Fundamentally, everybody would. Now here we go back to, and again, I work for the team, so automatically I am viewed as slanted or biased. I get that. But I still come back to, in Jason Light, you trust, in Todd Bowles and the coaching staff, you trust. And so if they are sitting and saying these are the two best options, Hainsey and Nick Leverett are the two best options to do this, it says to me two or three things. Maybe there is a veteran center, but is that veteran center going to be as athletic as one of these guys for the stuff that they want to do? Yes, they may be able to get up to speed on terminology, changing the play, changing the protection, but are they as athletic and as good as what these two guys are, who the coaching staff has seen practice over and over and over again? And does it, because we've heard no official confirmation of this, and I don't have any insight, does it maybe also mean that Ryan Jensen could potentially be back later in the year, like in November or December? So if that is the case, then you're taking the mindset of, we have two young options that have been here, been in the system. We're going to give them all August to take the reps and play in the preseason games, with the hope that we have a luxurious choice of one of them and or Jensen returning from injury come November. Now, if he can't play at all, which we don't know right now, I have to believe you've got to look at a veteran just from the standpoint of what happens if it doesn't work and or there's another injury at that position. Right. And that may still come, JP, like next week or the week after. So there's my long-winded answer. But in Jason Light and the coaching staff I trust on Hainsey and Leverett, at least for right now, that they've seen them. They've watched, just so we know what Todd Bowles was meaning yesterday at training camp. They've watched, or whatever day, was it Monday or was it Friday that he was talking about Hainsey? He was saying, we've watched him in reps at center in practice. He played a little center, I believe, in the preseason finale last year in Houston. So they've seen him, and they obviously like what they see and believe this can potentially work.
And here's the other thing about that. And obviously, Tom Brady is a great resource, and you want him to weigh in on all personnel developments, right? Especially on the offensive side, clearly. But he's also a player, and he doesn't have the responsibilities of a GM that has to caretake the rest of the, because when Brady leaves, we're still going to be playing football here. So we still have to, even though we're all in with the salary cap and all that, I get it. And we should be with Brady here. You still have to have an eye towards the future. So whatever JC Treader or Paredes or whoever may be asking may be too much. We don't know that.
That's right.
Obviously, would Brady like to have an experienced center over a guy that's never taken a meaningful center snap in the NFL? Of course, no question. But it's not just what has to be here. Maybe they want to see what Hainsey can do for a couple of weeks. Maybe
That's right.
want, as you mentioned, maybe we don't know what exactly Ryan Jensen's situation is. So we got to keep that in mind. And players play, GM's GM. So there's
yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's a valid point as well. Those two guys are cost effective at the same position, and Jensen costs a ton, and that still counts on the cap, even if he goes on injured reserve here, which he's going to go on.
Treader's likely looking for a 31, looking for a 3
well,
or 4 year.
right. And so my joke is the phrase that I've become accustomed to and acquainted with over the last year. I did not know this phrase until into my 50s. Nick probably knew this phrase because the younger generation talks about yesterday's price is not today's price. So that can be good or bad. So for right now, yesterday's price is not today's price for J.C. Treader, let's say, because he wants more, because he knows it's a winning situation. But what happens in a week or two if nobody else has signed him and Robert Hainsey looks good, to your point? Now yesterday's price is not today's price that J.C. Treader's even asking for, hypothetically, if that happens. So I just thought I'd share that on the JP show. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
That's right. All right. So other developments in camp, I guess we shouldn't be surprised at this, but I'm a little surprised. Julio is not the Julio of last couple of years that has missed so many games. The dude looks lighter. He looks faster. He looks tremendous. And I'll be honest with you, even having covered him for a couple of years in Atlanta, I'm a little surprised at this resurgence of what we're seeing in Julio Jones. And if the Bucs get the 2015 version, my Lord.
Oh yeah. Well, there is no disputing that. If you're getting the version from even 3 or 4 years ago, you're great. But you're right. In the early to mid 2010s, he was devastating, and we knew it better. I have said this now since they've made this deal. I've said it so many places, including privately and publicly. I watched him kill the Buccaneers at least a half dozen times with 7 or 8 catch, 150, 200 yard, 2 touchdown games over and over and over again. So if we have even 70% of that left, that's going to greatly aid everything you're doing with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin back healthy, Russell Gage in the slot, Tyler Johnson if he comes on, Perriman if he's healthy, receiver after receiver is going to benefit from having that guy out there. So, and he wants to win a ring, and it is at the end of his career, and it's a chance to hook up with Brady and have one last big shot at that at 33 years of age. So that's a big motivating factor. I hit the ball back over the net to you with this, my friend. Is he going to hang on to 85? Is 85 going to be his number?
Here,
or is there potentially a deal to be made?
Here, let me overhand smash that.
Smash it back.
I just popped that out of the tennis court.
Yeah.
No, not in 100.
So what does he?
85.
What does he end up? What number does he end up wearing? Because there's several numbers that he has worn. You think that's what he's going to end up with? You think he's going to end up with Kyle Trask's number 2?
Move over.
Quarterback?
Move over.
Could be. Well, Blaine Gabbert's got 11 that he wore in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Blaine could use a little extra, maybe. Blaine, whatever.
Though,
Kyle Rudolph got here first and took 8. Did you know, J.P. Peterson, Julio Jones wore number 8 at Alabama?
At Alabama, yeah.
But Kyle Rudolph got number 8 first.
So
would Kyle Rudolph
Rudolph
do a deal for 8? And so then you start thinking of variations. Well, like 1 was Jalen Darden last year. If he didn't want 11 and he didn't want 2 and he wanted 1, you got to wait and see, does Darden make the team? Does Darden still have 1 or not? I don't know how many other variations we could have on what Julio would want.
I'm going to bet 2. Kyle Trask is the least tenured of the group. So he will, as the youngest, he will certainly genuflect to the future Hall of Famer and say, you want to.
As Chris Godwin did, by the way, and got a little financial remuneration from Tom Brady to give Tom Brady 12.
He's got some cash. He's had a couple of.
Of course he does. Of course he does. So I still remember, and he's on your show all the time. Ask Gradkowski to verify this, because when Jeff Garcia showed up for the BUCCANEERS, he wanted number 7 that belonged to Bruce Gradkowski. And so there was a big debate about, would Bruce give him the number, whatever. And so I remember I showed up to do an interview, I think, with Garcia or whatever, and Gradkowski was there in the quarterback room. And I said, did we get this resolved? And Gradkowski held up his left arm with a humongous rock watch like J.P. Peterson rolls. And he goes, yeah, he's rubbing his chin. For the audience that can't see us, he's rubbing his chin, Gradkowski, going, yeah, we got it all figured out. Garcia is going to be number 7, and I'm going to take whatever he took, 6 or 8 or whatever Bruce took.
I will
verify that with Gradkowski on the
good.
Jeff Garcia transaction, and if he still has that item or not. But that was the.
I would suggest Kyle Trask will probably be making a similar deal with Julio. So I have no qualms about that. We talked so much about the offense, but I'm jacked up about this defense. And hearing Carlton Davis talk yesterday, he's got a new deal. Keanu Neal is out there thumping everybody, evidently. He's such a big hitter and a big playmaker. And Logan Ryan, you go look at his numbers, that guy is a playmaker. This team is, a few interceptions caught away from being an elite defense, and that's their focus. And I look at that front line, TJ, just watch it out there. You look at Vita Vea at 6'4", 350, Akeem Hicks right next to him at 6'4", 340, and Will Golston at 6'6", 290, 300. Bro. And then Shaq and Tryon coming off the edge, and those fast linebackers and an improved secondary. This defense and a running game, hopefully, that will rest this defense a little bit. This defense has a chance to be elite, and we don't even talk about that.
And who's licking his chops back there about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage is number 45, Devin White, because he realizes if it's going to take 2 or 3 bodies to move Akeem Hicks, and or 2 or 3 bodies to try to move Vita Vea, however which way, Devin White's free to roam around and destroy whatever he wants 3 to 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. He's got to be salivating, brother.
Yeah, and his issue is getting off blocks. He's not very good at it, but nobody's going to get to him at this point.
Nobody can get to the second level because you got 2 school buildings in front of you. Now, the only question would be, again, here we go back to Akeem Hicks has been playing in Chicago, and he didn't play somewhere else before that. He's got to deal with the heat as well, and the training camp and how many plays on the field, etc. All these guys. Tryon Shoyinka talked about it coming from Washington and the Pacific Northwest and practices in this 75-degree, beautiful, no humidity climate to come here and practice in this. You got to be ready. So, and you didn't mention Logan Hall, the first-round pick. He's at least out of Houston, where they're kind of used to the same kind of climate to practice in and be ready to go. But yes, there's a lot to be excited about on the defensive side of the ball. I guess the biggest concern is the secondary. Who for depth purposes are going to be around and be healthy around Carlton Davis, and you hope he stays healthy as well, because I keep saying this to you, cannot have enough good defensive backs. You got to have a lot of them, and let's hope they stay healthy.
Yeah, and Zion McCollum is a guy they drafted, has shown some flashes. So I'm really upbeat on this defense. So we'll see how it goes. Hey, I wanted to get a quick take from you. You've covered this league for a long time. I've never been able to make heads or tails out of these suspensions and how many games they get. But this Deshaun Watson thing is just like beyond the pale. I mean, and the NFL, there's heat on Roger Goodell to suspend him for a year anyway, because he's going to be the ultimate arbiter. I think they set this up with the female judge and said, this will be our cover. You pay that guy that much money, they're going to let him play. They're going to let him play. And they don't want to get sued by Deshaun Watson. It's going to be 6 games. It's going to be 6 games, but there's all this pressure for Goodell to do something more. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be 6 games. What do you think?
I believe it's going to be more than that. They have until Thursday morning, right, to announce the appeal. And then as I understand the process in reading this, and look, you understand this, I work for a team, and the team has had a player before in Jameis Winston in the same boat with how long is he going to get suspended, and it ended up being 3 games in that instance. The Bucs play the Cleveland Browns later in the year. The likelihood is Deshaun Watson will probably be playing in late November, whatever the suspension is, unless it ends up being a 12-game suspension or for the entire year. He's going to probably end up playing, you would believe, at the end of November, depending on what goes on. But by the same, you've got 30 allegations. And again, to your point about being convoluted, when the arbiter, Sue Robinson is her name, the Honorable Sue Robinson, who's a former federal court judge, this is not messing around. This is big time litigation that we're talking about here. When she heard the case, they were only talking about 5 instances and 5 plaintiffs. We now know court of public opinion, and from the other reporting and those that have filed, it's 30 accusations. Further reporting, he was in contact with 60 different women. The investigation has yielded that 60 different women trying to get massages from them. So when you look at this, is just again relaying the facts. Ezekiel Elliott suspended 6 games for 1 allegation of domestic violence, not criminally charged, suspended 6 games back in 2017. Ben Roethlisberger, 1 allegation of sexual assault, not criminally charged, suspended 8 games, reduced to 6. In both of those cases, that is 1 allegation, not 30 of them. This is where people are sitting back. But again, just on all sides of this, to the judge's point, she's going on precedent and looking at, you gave Ezekiel Elliott 6 games. You gave Ben Roethlisberger 8. Jameis Winston had an accusation of sexual misconduct, and it was 3 games in that instance. So she's sitting back going, on my first ruling here, I got to go on precedent as well. And so she gives him 6. And so now we'll see if Goodell and company want it to be more or not. But I understand the outrage when there are that many allegations. It is still dumbfounding to me that you would have that many different people outside of your circle, outside of people that you can trust, that you're just constantly going to for the very thing here that could happen, which is there's problems. And I have to believe from his representatives and from his lawyers, they had to be cringing over the last year on here's another one, and here's 2 more, and here's 5 more. And it's amazing that it's 30 of them that are accusing him. 30, not insignificant.
When they guaranteed him $230 million, they guaranteed that he would have a small suspension, in my mind, because the owners run this league, and they're not going to let another owner pay that much.
And the ridiculous part when you play this out, these are just the facts, all right? They gave him the money through the Browns deal and through free agency to settle these cases, okay?
Exactly.
So there's that. Yeah. They gave him a $45 million signing bonus, so he got that money. That's part of the settlement. And his contract is structured this year where he won't lose the money while being suspended, except to the tune of like 1% of the contract. It's like $300,000 or $400,000 out of a $40 million salary.
No fine.
It's crazy. So I don't think we have the last chapters written on this yet. I think there's going to be an NFL appeal, and there's going to be more. Stay tuned. Let's just see. Let's see what they do.
Guys get fined for, illegal hits.
They get fined for not having their socks pulled up.
Exactly. But
they get fined for having their shirt untucked. Yes.
But okay. No fine. All right. Hey, any quick thoughts on the Rays? Brett Phillips, your man.
I'm bummed. I'm bummed there. I was with my father this morning. My father is doing fine. He was having cataract surgery. He's older, and we were getting him taken care of. And he and I were talking about this, and he's like, man, I love that guy. But the financial realities are the financial realities. Maybe he's a piece in a trade that we're going to find out later today. And maybe he ends up back here. I don't know if he's going to clear waivers. Somebody will probably pick him up. He's a live bat. He's a great effort guy. You and I have talked about this several times. He's a guy you want in your lineup. He's a great effort guy, Brett Phillips. He hasn't been hitting well enough overall, but it's not like he's making $10 million a year to not be hitting well enough overall. He does a lot of the other intangibles well. Great guy in the community. I just hope he's back at some point. I think he might be back. He's young enough where he could be back at some point.
Yeah, hopefully he learns how to hit somewhere, because that's the most. If he could hit, for God's sakes, we'd be in good shape, and he'd be around here a while.
But he's given you some moments in the past that you're going to remember. I mean, the World Series moment, obviously at the forefront in 2020, where he got the hit. It wasn't a monstrous hit, but it was good enough. And then the home run with the little girl in St. Pete with cancer, and that is Hollywood stuff. They will probably make a movie out of that at some point, and it really happened. And fan favorites and team chemistry are part of this too. It isn't all about whether he's hitting 350 or on base percentage 410 or whatever. That isn't everything in this.
Right. All right, TJ, great stuff. Tell me how the folks can get all your content, what you got going on, brother.
We are fast approaching the upcoming NFL season. You can follow me at Bucs Sideline Guy, BUC, Bucs Sideline Guy. Preseason games coming here with the Dolphins and everything else. And we'll have a new Buccaneer podcast out when the regular season starts. Nothing but Bucs. We'll have new episodes, game recaps, player interviews, all of that. Cannot wait. We won't be long for football here in Tampa Bay. I know the Hall of Fame game with the Raiders and the Jaguars, whatever that's going to be, is Thursday night, but won't be long before we get some preseason games. And then it's the Buccaneers and the hello Dallas Cowboys for the second year in a row. You think there might be a couple people watching on Sunday night September 11th, I think there might be a couple of people watching.
And we're going to take the show to Dallas that week. We'll be in Dallas.
Are you going to be there?
I'm going to be in Dallas. Yes,
I gotta hook up with you with your 10-gallon hat, your Spurs, and your beverage, and we got to go do it right in Big D, my friend.
Absolutely.
Have you been in Jerry's World? Have you been in AT&T Stadium?
I've been, for
my
Super Bowl
God,
many years ago.
My God. For the people that have not been and don't understand this, Buccaneer fans that are going, you think you have been in big stadiums. You think you have been in big settings. I knew we were in trouble the first time that I was in there in terms of how big it is, because there's a bloody car dealership up on the third level. Legitimately, there's a Ford dealership with all the trucks and cars up on the third level of the stadium, where you can not only come see the Cowboys play, how about them Cowboys, but you can sign and drive a brand new Ford at AT&T Stadium. I just thought I would share that with you as I depart.
Well, I thought I'd share for you as you depart. I'm so sorry that your Grease reference went over my head. I wanted to disappoint you that I've never seen them.
Good for you. Please abstain. Stay away for as long as you can. But you're about to be a married man, and you're going to learn more about this. That the old musical with John Travolta that helped launch him, Saturday Night Fever, Grease. Welcome Back, Kotter, the TV show. JP and I are speaking the language. Nick has no idea.
I like Urban Cowboy.
Urban Cowboy is later. Pulp Fiction is later. All these different movies that he made that are later. But he was white hot, making Grease, making Saturday Night Fever, being on Welcome Back, Kotter, the sitcom TV show on ABC every week. Travolta and Grease is big in my house, and of course they have to sing all the songs. So be glad that you do not have to partake in that yet, Nick. I wish you well.
You don't know what you're missing.
And a Tampa Bay sports fan, by the way.
Huge
one.
Yeah, he was at the Stanley Cup playoffs. I don't know that he's been at Buck games, but yes, he's up in Ocala. He's got horses in Ocala. He's got a jet. He's got a literal big plane at the Ocala airport, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to be your transpo to get you to and from Dallas. Work on that, but you got to get Nick up to speed on Grease. And Danny, I can't remember Danny's last name. Danny Zuko,
right?
They're from Grease. But yes, the hottest Halloween of my career with the Twins, with the leather jacket playing Danny for Grease. With that, be well.
All right, the great TJ Reese. Thank you very much, my friend. Appreciate that. We'll take a quick break here, our final break. Come back on the other side, wrap up Bucs training camp here today with all the news and notes, and a couple of other little incidental things we got to get in. A couple other stories to get to, including Tiger Woods literally turning down almost $1 billion. We'll tell you that story when we come back. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. You get a COVID diagnosis, Christopher Lugo and his team over there will take great care of you, get you what you need. You will not get sick. You will not get hospitalized. They have had great success with COVID patients. Go to BAMMC.com. Make an appointment. Tell them JP sent you. All right, we have a Juan Soto trade. And it is it's absolutely it's mind-blowing how little the Nats got back for him and Josh Bell.
So he's going to the Padres. The Padres have gotten Juan Soto and Josh Bell, and they are giving up C.J. Abrams, Robert Hassel III, James Wood, and Jarlin Susana. Abrams is going to be the big guy in this deal. He was a former top 10, I think maybe top 5 prospect, 21 years old. He's been up in the majors this year, 125 at bats, probably limited time. So he's the big guy here. Hassel's the number 1 overall prospect in the Padres organization, 21st overall in the big leagues. James Wood is the number 88 overall prospect in MLB. And then Jarlin Susana is an 18-year-old prospect who I don't think has really played much in the minors yet. So it's a 4-for-2. And I don't think they got near. I mean, they've been saying this.
Gotta be kidding me.
They've been saying this package was going to be the biggest package ever for a player, and it's going to be so hard to get Juan Soto. I don't think it was that difficult based on that.
Juan Soto's a top 5-10 player in the game.
Josh Bell, a top 10 first baseman in the game. And that's a team that can probably get both those guys under contract.
How long does Josh Bell have? Is he already a free agent? Let me check this out. Because I'm looking at the Rays going, you couldn't offer more than that?
He's on a 1-year deal this year, so he's a free agent at the end of the year.
Okay, so these are both. But Soto's not a rental.
Soto you got for 2.5 years here.
Soto's not a rental.
And they can sign him to a long-term deal.
The Padres can. But if you're the Rays, I mean, I'm giving up. I mean, make a better deal than that for the Nats. For both of those guys?
For both of those guys.
And again, the Rays aren't paying anybody. What do you have to pay Josh Bell next year?
He's a free agent.
I know, but what do you think in the
going
rate?
Well, he made $10 million this year, so he could probably get close to $20 million in the market.
Okay, so you solve your first base problem with Josh Bell. You get a bopper, and you got Juan Soto for this year, this playoff run, and 2 more. Now you're going to have to pay him $20 million a year. But again, the Rays are only invested in $23 million next year, and Wander Franco's contract doesn't go crazy for like another 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1 this year and I think 5 next year. And then it goes to 10, 11, what have you. So, and again, the payroll average is $160 million. And the Rays have $23 million committed for next year. You could pay both of those guys for the next few years and have a really, really damn good Soto and Josh Bell, and you still got to go out and find a catcher. Yeah. But again, you got what should be $120 million to play with. You got so many good players on low contracts. If you were really trying to win, is what I'm saying. If you're really trying to win, you could have made a huge splash with these. You could have definitely come up with a better package than that.
The tough thing there is I think Abrams is probably, I don't think the Rays have anybody like Abrams in their system. I will say that. I'm almost positive he was a top 5 prospect before he came up. Like,
I'll give you the rookie of the year.
He's probably in the Wander Franco. He's probably in that category.
I'll give you the rookie of the year.
Huh?
Give you a rookie of the year, Randy Rosarena.
He ain't CJ Abrams. Abrams is 21, shortstop. No.
I'll throw in Tyler Glasnow.
Glasnow is pushing 30 and has injury concerns.
They need pitching. There's also a Cy Young Contender.
Oh, you were going to trade Shane McClanahan, huh?
No, I'm not.
Come on.
No, but Glasnow is a Cy Young contender.
I think the Rays could have put together a better package, but they would have given up more players to make the package better. Which, again, I wouldn't mind it, but you'd have to be real. It's a double-edged sword. It really is.
Yeah, but
it's a tough, because the Rays, the thing is, it's like, does it make the Rays? I mean, it probably helps the Rays more so in 2023 and 2024 than it does this year.
Right. Let's go for it. We got a lot of good young players under contract and good young pitchers under contract.
I think mostly, though, to me, the Nationals have traded Max Scherzer, Trey Turner,
the Nationals
Juan
are a disaster.
Soto, and Josh Bell in the last 2 trade deadlines to the Padres and the Dodgers. Not even like trading them to the AL or something like that. You're just making those teams just.
That's what they do in Washington, D.C. They make their
they didn't pay
better.
Bryce Harper and let him walk. That's just an awful franchise. I just wanted
It's
to
terrible.
point that out.
And look at the amount of talent that they've had come through that franchise, and look what they got now.
Look at what they had.
Squat.
Hold on. Actually, well, this is quite the name not to lead. Okay, this changes things. So there was a name left out in the original tweet from John Morosi. I guess he didn't have this name in front of him, or because this makes things different. Mackenzie Gore is also a part of this deal for the Nationals. That changes things. Now this is official, and one more major league player also on top of this, which is yet to be named.
All right.
So now this is a suitable deal, and this is what it was hyped up to be, because Mackenzie Gore is a potential front of the rotation guy. We've already seen some glimpses of him this year. He's looked pretty good. So now it's a pretty good deal. And I'm interested to see who the major league player is, because that has not been revealed. But still, that's a monster trade right there. A big trade.
Well, the Padres have got to try to keep up with the Dodgers. You know, it's not easy. And what do you got there?
Sorry, just
anything
a lot of
from
news
the Rays?
coming out
Well,
here.
yeah, the deadline is coming up.
Not there. It's in the NFL. It's just I'd happily have to read more into it, but it looks like Stephen Ross has been hit with a lot of tampering charges involving Tom Brady and Sean Payton, and he's been suspended. He's been suspended, I believe, through not the entire season here, but a portion of this season.
What a scumbag that guy is.
So I'll have to read through this minutia. But yes, the big news, Juan Soto, though, on the move for a massive haul going back to the Nationals.
Yeah, so if you think there wasn't anything to Brady to Miami deal, well, there you go. Stephen Ross suspended for tampering with Brady and Sean Payton.
Noon news dump right there.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, penalized for tampering regarding Tom Brady. Dolphins forfeit their first-round pick in 2023, a third-round pick in 2024. I have no idea. Stephen Ross suspended through October 17th. I don't know what that really does. And then Bruce Beal, whoever that is, cannot attend games in 2022 and fined $500,000.
So that was some serious tampering going on there.
Yes, and that was he was tampering with Brady in both 2019 and 2020 when he was with the Patriots, and 2021 with the Bucs, and Sean Payton in January 2022.
Yeah. So this was, the reports that Brady was seriously considering going to the Dolphins are absolutely 100% true. I mean, there you go. Right there. And he takes 2 to tango. So again, I don't really care because Brady's playing with the Buccaneers right now. And that's that. But again, just to let you know that was the thing. Brady was very much interested in going to play in Miami. He was done with Tampa Bay. And when the Bucs pretty much made it known, hey buddy, you're under contract. You're not going anywhere. We're not taking anything less than 5 first round picks. Again, just underscores how well the Bucs played this whole thing out to get Brady to come back for one more year. Kudos to Jason Light. Kudos to the Glazers. Kudos to Brian Ford, the entire team over there, what they did. Bruce Arians setting the public table that no, you're not getting Brady for nothing. They played it perfectly. So,
yep. The last player going in the deal, by the way, back to that, is Eric Hosmer. So the Padres are just looking ready to get rid of that contract.
Yeah.
That's all he's there for.
So this story came out yesterday. I was watching Tucker Carlson last night. He did an interview with Greg Norman, and Norman confirmed that LIV Golf, before he became the CEO and commissioner, offered Tiger Woods something in the area of $700 to $800 million to join the Live Golf Invitational Series. I'm guessing he would have also probably been the CEO like Greg Norman. a $700 to $800 million. That's just absolutely incomprehensible, really. And he turned it down. And that's why when you heard Tiger speak so passionately about, the game of golf and the PGA Tour, that's why he was so adamant about it, because he feels like this is an existential threat to the PGA Tour and the way things have been done in the game of golf. And also, you've got the whole Saudi sports washing ethical argument there that I think should hold a lot of water for a lot of these guys. They're protecting their legacy in the game. And I appreciate that. By the way, PGA Tour to pay out a record $428.6 million in 22-23. That pales obviously in comparison to what's going on at the Live Tour, but again, they're making strides. And by the way, the Valspar got their date. It's mid-March again. The only issue is they've given the Bay Hill, Arnold Palmer's old tournament that he hosted, Bay Hill a $20 million purse now. The Players is going to be a couple of weeks before, the week after, I think. Anyway, it's surrounded by big money tournaments, the Valspar is. So, as well as they run the tournament here, they've done a tremendous job. Tracy West and Rondé Barber, thank God we got them, because they'll still be able to put together a great tournament and a great field. Hopefully there's not a Live Golf tournament opposite the Valspar, but there very well could be, because there's not going to be one opposite Bay Hill and there's not going to be one opposite the Players. And it's March. So, and by the way, Trump has a course in Florida. So I wouldn't shock me if Trump Doral got a tournament, a Live tournament the same week that the Players are already in Florida. So just saying, that could be something that affects us here locally, which kind of sucks. All right. Our thanks to TJ Reeves, who've joined us. Scott Reynolds, by the way, is going to join us on Thursday. Casey Hudson from Pewter Report's going to join us tomorrow. We're going to start getting into college football as well, get some of our Florida State, Florida, USF, Miami, all those folks on to start catching up to see what's going on in their practices as well. Great job, Nick Geddes. We will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. Go Rays. Go make a deal. See you.